1 week season.
Hey, and welcome in, OWS fam. So glad you are with us here. We are back in the DFS lab. As always, this show presented by 1 week season, where we build a lineup on DraftKings and use that as a way to talk through the upcoming slate. In this case, it is week 15. It is Tuesday, December 10th. So obviously a very early look at this one, but as always, just really fun to kind of get some theoretical viewpoints and talk through kind of some ways you can go. And with that, I'm your host, Cheeseman, and time to welcome up Hilow. And Hilow, how you doing, man? And what do you think of week 15? I mean, we only got 4 of these main slates left. It is crazy. Feels like this season has flown by.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. Week 15, the interesting thing about week 15 is there's no buys anymore. So we're now like home free. There's no more buys. That said, we do have 2 Monday night football games and 1 Sunday night football game. That leaves us with, I believe, 12 games.
Yep, 12 games.
Yeah, so bigger slate, more opportunity for fantasy points to be scored. We're not likely to need as many points as we did last week because that was crazy with the Minnesota primary taken off. First time in NFL history that 2 pass catchers went over 125 yards and scored 2 touchdowns, with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison both doing so last week.
Wow.
Like we had 2 NFL records set this week. We had 1 set last week with the Josh Allen thing. First quarterback to run 1, throw 1, catch 1. And then he followed it up this week and first quarterback ever to rush for 3 touchdowns and pass for 3 touchdowns. And then we had that record set by Minnesota this week as well. So it was like these past 2 weeks have been out of the ordinary, we'll say. It's not every week you have NFL records set. It's far less likely for 2 NFL records to be set in a single week. But that's what we had last week. And if you didn't have Josh Allen, if you didn't have like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, Tyreek Hill, like all these guys, Puka Nacua went like 14 catches or some shit on 18 targets, something like that.
Yeah,
or was that like, I can't remember. That might've been Jamar Chase's line from last night, but he ran a touchdown. He caught a touchdown. So there were massive scores last week. So like we look at this slate, we're probably going to need more points to ship GPPs than the median of this season, but it's probably not going to be like last week where we're needing like 280 points to ship majors. So that'll be kind of our starting point for building today.
Awesome, dude. Let me pull up DraftKings here and let's see. I actually have not really looked yet at the contests that are available. So is the 555 there this week?
Nope, it's not. So we'll build to the SPY or the double SPY,
cool.
whichever one you can pick.
Let me just get in here. SPY. There we go. I'll just no wait. That's cool. There we go. I'll just jump into this one. So okay. Now, yeah, I mean, last week, yeah, this feels like some of these weeks, man. And by the way, nice call on. I remember earlier in the season, you kind of said Puka is their number 1 receiver now for the Rams, and that couldn't be more obvious now. But then it just seems right now like maybe it's normal, and it's just kind of we're prisoners of the moment, so to speak. But there have been some slates this year where it's like you'll kind of have these performances where they're so far above the rest that man, you just like you said, without Josh Allen, without really some exposure to that Buffalo Rams game, there was no way you were sniffing a win in GPPs. But Allen it's not like he got 35, he got like 55. It's just crazy that some of the outlier scores we've seen.
There's also an interesting aspect of this slate. We saw like 2 running backs that came into borderline workhorse roles last week in Isaac Guerendo and Zach Charbonnet. Both of them are off the main slate. We have the Seahawks playing the Packers on Sunday Night Football. We have the 49ers playing on Thursday Night Football against the Rams. So, and Isaac Guerendo, he saw, I believe it was 18 to 9 running back opportunities versus Patrick Taylor. But 8 of the 9 Patrick Taylor opportunities came on the second to last drive, on the penultimate drive for the 49ers with the game in hand. Yeah. So Guerendo kind of operated as like a workhorse back. He saw 2 opportunities on that final drive to the 8 of Patrick Taylor. So effectively before the second to last drive, Isaac Grendo saw 16 opportunities to 1 of Patrick Taylor. So that is kind of a workhorse role. But both of those guys are not on the slate. So it becomes very, very interesting when we're looking around the league at the state of this slate. It's really like, is Breece Hall going to play after sitting out last week? But even then, like we saw Braylon Allen sharing work with Isaiah Davis. Isaiah Davis scored a touchdown. That did come later in the game, but it was like a game. It was a tight game that these two teams were playing. So, and we know like Breece Hall hasn't necessarily performed extremely well. I mean, he'll put up an occasional 30 burger, but that usually comes on immense pass volume. So we don't really have the same like style of slate this week where it's like team jam a man, Isaac Grendo and Zach Charbonnet. I mean, that's what I did last week. I paired them with Saquon Barkley, who didn't score. He had a rushing attempt from the 1. Like, hallelujah, he had it. And then he got stuffed, and then Jalen Hurts snuck it in. Like, damn it.
No way.
Yeah, dude.
That's crazy, man.
He had an opportunity from the 1. It was like in the first quarter. And then Jalen Hurts, Saquon got stuffed, and Jalen Hurts snuck it in. So, last week didn't necessarily go as planned. I was all over Saquon Barkley. I was all over Justin Jefferson. I had locked in Isaac Grendo and Zach Charbonnet. So, like, I cashed 2 out of my 5 rosters and lost a little bit because I didn't have Jordan Addison, I didn't have Tyreek Hill, I didn't have Josh Allen, I didn't have even Sam Darnold, who put up like 39 points, but it was like paled in comparison by the 54 burger put up by Josh Allen. Anyway, last week was crazy. I didn't have Puka, there were like 5 players that put up like 39 points or more, which is absurd.
What was like? I actually didn't really listen to the I just didn't have a lot of time this last week, and I had some other work stuff. So what was putting you on Justin Jefferson? Like, why were you so heavy on him? And were they popular, or I'm not even sure.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson, he came in like 12% in the low dollar stuff. He came in like 23% in the high dollar stuff. So he was very clearly a sharp play. The thesis being like the Falcons had been burned by opposing wide receiver 1s of late. And like Sam Darnold attempted 28 passes. So it's not like they were forced into increased pass volume. It's just he threw 5 touchdowns, and they were very concentrated amongst Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. What I was pissed about myself when I woke up Monday morning, is I missed Jordan Addison, man. If you look at the previous month of play coming into that game, Jordan Addison actually led the team in yards, in targets per route run, in targets, like all these things, because like Justin Jefferson is just consistently seeing like coverage rolled in his direction. And that makes sense. He's like the best wide receiver in the league. You could make a case for Jamar Chase, but to me, it's Justin Jefferson. And so like, I pulled the splits over the previous month on Monday. And by the time the game had played, it was the previous 5 games. And I was like, God damn it, man. Like, I just missed Jordan Addison.
You just wish that you had like seen that before, because then you probably would have been like, go with both here or something.
I was on Justin Jefferson. So if I would have noticed like the splits of Jordan Addison, I probably would have got Sam Darnold. I wasn't getting Josh Allen. So it is what it is. I just plumb missed it. And just learn and move forward.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Well, you want to, how do you want to start with looking at week 15 with this build? Do you want to start at the QB and kind of go down, or what do you think?
Honestly, I don't know, because I'm looking at the slate for the first time. We know we have 12 games, so more opportunities to score fantasy points. By how I'm looking at the slate, it looks like there are some games that the median game total is up this week. We have the Bucks and the Chargers in the afternoon portion with a hefty, 46.5 game total. We have the Bills and the Lions with a 52.5, Colts and Broncos even with a 44, Cardinals Patriots even with a 46, like Bengals and Titans. That's an interesting game too, because the Bengals are very clearly trying to pass their way to the end of the season. They're top 5 in pretty much all passing metrics. And then you have a Titans defense at home A Titans defense who has allowed now the fewest passing yards per game in the league. And that game total is up at 48 points. So that's a very interesting one as well. You've got the Ravens with a 29.25 Vegas implied team total against the Giants on the road.
Favored by 15.
Yeah,
15
dude, that's
favorites.
we typically don't see like 14 plus lines in the NFL. And typically when it is, it's like involving the Jags, or at least over the past like 5 years, it has been. So we're not used to seeing that either. But the Ravens are very clearly in a good spot. Derrick Henry there against the Giants. You have the Commanders who have a Vegas applied team total of 25. You have the Texans and the Dolphins. That's an interesting matchup because the Dolphins have been playing really, really good defense.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, and the game total sitting at 47 points. You have the Chiefs on the road against the Browns. The Browns have been pushing game environments. That's got a 45-point game total. Even the Cowboys and the Panthers, man, are sitting at 43. So we should expect some points to be racked up here. Is kind of that exploration, we'll say.
And one thing I noticed too is that like almost none of these games on the main slate are divisional matchups. So they're all like out of division games. I think the only one on the entire weekend is the Bears and Vikings on the Monday Night Football game. So sometimes the out of division games, the teams don't know each other as well. So I mean, that's kind of what I thought when the Bills and Rams put up that game. I was like, my goodness, dude, like the Bills haven't been allowing that many points. And then how did this happen?
Yeah.
You try to make sense of stuff like that, and sometimes there's just no way to do it. But
yeah, the Rams and the 49ers play on Thursday night. It's the only other divisional game. When we start getting to the end of the season, I think in week 16, 17, and 18, we'll start to see a lot more divisional tilts as the season rounds out. But yeah, this week is kind of the last like inter-conference.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think about Tua? Like, I mean, I noticed him. He's 6K. I mean, when you being a game log watcher, here I am doing it, but certainly has put up some good like salary multipliers based on his salary. But obviously, Houston, that's kind of a bit of an avoid spot. Would you think Houston's in a void spot in terms of the matchup a bit?
Not necessarily. The thing with Houston is they have a very complex defense. And so when that is, when that is like creating confusion, when they're able to get organic pressure, their defense looks really, really good. When they are not able to get pressure, and they've bled production on deep passing this season. They're allowing the first most touchdowns of 20 plus yards. So to come outside the red zone. So this defense is like not a stay away, but it's not necessarily like we want to be attacking it. Actually, I want to see their coverage utilization.
Oh yeah. So like
I think they're running a ton of too high. I want to double check. Okay. Sorry, almost there.
Oh yeah, you're good. No worries.
No, they're running about average rates of too high and single high, and that's important because Tua Tagovailoa is the lowest deep pass rate against too high this season.
Okay, so that matters. Yeah, that definitely matters.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's not a stay away. It's not a. It feels a little chasey, honestly, going to Tyreek, but
it does. Yeah. It does.
I mean, he saw 14 targets, caught 10 for 115-1. I want to start in the spot where there's the most certainty, I think. And that is with the Ravens. There's the most certainty because they have the highest Vegas applied team total, just narrowly over the Lions. The Lions are a difficult nut to crack against the Bills because the Bills are very they play a lot of prevent defense. And what that does is it invites the run. So that's good, like, because we know that the Lions can run the football, but like at the same time, it kind of nukes a little bit the game environment. And it's a split backfield for the Lions. So while they have the second highest team total, there's a little bit less certainty for me than, say, the Ravens.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with Derrick Henry, actually.
Okay, so toss him in here.
Yeah.
Okay, Henry on the road at the Giants.
And that's simply saying like they probably have the most certainty of scoring points against a Giants team is completely mailing it in. And it's a way to get access to that team because we don't expect the Ravens to fail. Now it's just a matter of where the touchdowns are coming from.
Absolutely. So Henry there. So then let's see. Yeah, where do you want to go next? You want to go quarterback yet or look at the running back position more? I mean, you mentioned, Breece Hall, if he's out, that's going to be an interesting situation with obviously two very affordable running backs, but you don't really know, like, how are they going to split the backfield?
Yeah.
Just in
I
terms
don't really want
of
to go there, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, the only other like big running back injury on the slate is potentially Bucky Irving, but then again, like the Bucks are playing the Chargers.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily want to be attacking them. On the other side of that game, the Chargers have been a lot more pass centric of late. Afternoon game against the Bucks. So Ladd McConkey's status is something to monitor. If he is out again, he had the knee and shoulder. So he's been dealing with the shoulder injury, but he picked up a knee injury in week 13, which kept him out of week 14. If he's out, it kind of opens up like Quentin Johnston a little bit, kind of opens up Josh Palmer a little bit.
Absolutely.
Will Dissly's out as well. Dude,
I like that.
Yeah, Will Dissly's out. So let's actually like save some salary here. Let's put in Stone Smartt. He's 2,600. We paid up a little bit at running back already, so we're going to need some savings. That's only if Ladd is out again.
Okay, yeah. So if Ladd's in, then Stone Smartt, you don't feel like he's viable.
Yeah, I mean, it's just his upside will get significantly dented if Ladd is in. But we'll build as if Ladd is out. We know that Will Dissly is out. We have a 2,600 tight end. When you look at the state of the slate, there are fewer tight ends that can put the slate out of reach. We don't have George Kittle on the main slate. We don't have TJ Hawkinson. We don't have fucking Raiders guy, whatever.
Bowers. Yeah.
Bowers. We don't have Brock Bowers. So with there being fewer tight ends that can really put the slate out of reach, and we have to question, like, does Trey McBride even have that within his range of outcomes? I don't know. I think he does. He's seen double-digit targets in each of the last 3 games. The Cardinals are a mess, though. So, and then it's like Travis Kelce. He's not necessarily being utilized as much as we would like in the regular season. Jonnu Smith is in a difficult schematic matchup against a Houston defense that is kind of inside out. And then it's like David Njoku against KC. That's really it. He's seen double-digit looks in each of the last 2 games. So we need fewer tight ends to fail for some of these cheap guys to have more merit. And that's kind of the thesis behind the Stone Smartt play.
Yep, absolutely. No, that's a good shout right there.
All right, so we should probably start looking at like our primary. Yeah. At the top, it's like Josh Allen can put the slate out of reach, but he's in a difficult spot against Detroit, but they have a high team total. Lamar Jackson can put the slate out of reach, but we've already played Derrick Henry. Jalen Hurts can put the slate out of reach, but he's in a difficult spot against Pitt, and their passing volume is down. Did you see the reports that like AJ Brown's quote on Monday?
No, I didn't. I haven't seen it yet.
It was something to the effect of
I'm not happy.
I guess it wasn't a direct quote. It was a third-party quote. It was somebody talking about the situation on like a podcast. And he said something to the effect of, yeah, AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts used to be like boys, or like used to be good friends. And he used to be. And we were all like, what? Oh, shit.
That's very interesting, man.
Yeah, so
AJ Brown is, Philly just runs so much now. It's like,
it appears that AJ Brown is not happy with his volume of late. Typically in the past, we've seen when AJ Brown speaks up and is vocal, we typically see a little bit of squeaky wheel going on.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, you look at what he's done in the past. It's like they're just not throwing the football. Like 4 targets, 6, 7, 8, 7, 4, 6, 5, 9. He hasn't seen double-digit targets since week 1. Very, very weird situation, just how that team is choosing to win games. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
That's something definitely to keep an eye on. I love squeaky wheel narratives. I always forget to actually play them when it comes down to it.
Yeah. And then Jaden Daniels is up at the top that can put the slate out of reach. Joe Burrow is at the top that can put the slate out of reach, but he's playing a Titans. The Titans are so weird, dude. They're like bottom 5 in points allowed per game, but they're number 1 in pass yards allowed per game. They also had Roger McCreary, who is their slot nickel corner, missed last week. We know that fuck, I forgot his name.
I wouldn't know the secondary pieces for the Titans.
Yeah,
anyway,
I forgot his name. It's a dude who was on the Chiefs last year, and is on IR now. Whatever, he's missing. I forgot his name. I'm so tired, dude. Anyway,
so they got some pieces on the back end that won't be playing.
Yeah. And then Tavondre Sweat, they're like, he's playing like a freaking Pro Bowler, but he's a rookie nose tackle. He didn't practice all week last week, and then he played. So he's probably going to go into the contest questionable as well. I don't know, just some interesting dynamics with that Cincinnati game. Yeah, man, it's it's difficult. It's difficult to nail down a primary here.
It is. Yeah, I agree. I built a lineup earlier, and I just throwing it together, went with Tua. Of course, don't necessarily trust my judgment because last week I went with Will Levis, and that sucked. Another reason the Titans, against the Jags, who are like worst in yards allowed and 5th worst in points allowed, and scored 6 points. So, but I digress.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
We're gonna wait. Actually, I want to look at running back. We're gonna wait in the primary. Okay. We got to get this moving a little bit. If we look at running back, one name that kind of stands out to me is Rico Dowdle at 6,100. Nice. He's seen 25 and 20 running back opportunities the last 2 weeks, and he's gone over 100 yards in each game against the Giants and the Bengals. Now he gets the Panthers. The Panthers are playing a little bit better, but they're not. I mean, they're still ranked dead last in fantasy points per game allowed to running backs. And all we've been waiting for Rico is like the workload, and he's finally got it. So we'll pencil Rico in at 6,100.
Love that. I that's a great find. I don't know how I didn't see that myself, but nice work. That's great. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, 5,500 left. I mean, do you want to
check something real quick? I want to check the Commanders' utilization last week.
Okay.
Because Austin Eckler is out. Oh God, dude! Brian Robinson only saw 47% of the offensive snaps. Jeremy McNichols and Chris Rodriguez got in. I think it was a blowout, though. I'm interested. I'll have to do some more digging to see like when those opportunities came. But Brian Robinson is in a really good spot here. Let's put him in as well. We'll go 3 running backs.
Okay. All right, there we go.
Yeah, he's in a really good spot against the Saints, who are, I think, dead last in just yards allowed before contact. Let me double check that. Oh, the Bears are. So the Saints are second to last. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, so with our running backs that we have here, let's see. We've got Baltimore against the Giants. The Giants are... Sorry, I'm just trying to see something real quick.
Oh, yeah. You're good.
What the fuck are the Giants? Oh, the Giants are like in the middle of the league in yards allowed before contact. But we know that the Ravens are ranked second. And then we have... we're attacking the Saints and the Panthers. And the Saints are second to last in yards allowed before contact. The Panthers are 5th to last, so 28th. So just attacking these kind of like softer run spots with a 3 RB build here. What that means is we're going to need some more value probably. So
what about do you want to look at defense real quick just to
yeah,
see
let's go
kind
to
of
defense.
where what we'll have in terms of salary?
Yeah, let's go to defense.
So yeah, it's at the bottom, not a ton to love. So
yeah, there's really not. Probably the Jets is the cheapest we want to go. Yeah, let's put the Jets in there.
Okay, let's see where that puts us.
And we probably need a value stack now as well. Let's do Bo Nix.
Bo Nix. Racket.
And then pair him up with Courtland Sutton. Gotta go Sutton. Yeah, let's pair him up with Courtland Sutton. Let's see what that gives us. We got 54.50 per player left.
Yeah, man. Wide receiver is thin below that 5,500 mark.
Yeah, so we're gonna need. Let's go Adam Thielen at 54 to pair with Rico, and then
Marvin Harrison just cannot seem to get it going lately.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that whole offense is.
Yeah,
we've been talking about it all year.
Yes, all year.
Let's go Amari Cooper.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Get access to the top game total on the slate.
Love it, dude. All right, so this is the build for those listening on the pod. Bo Nix at the QB with Derrick Henry, Rico Dowdle, Courtland Sutton, Adam Thielen, and Cooper at the 3 receiver spots. You got the Nix Sutton stack. And then at tight end, I can't remember what this guy's name is. Stone Smartt. That's actually a cool name. Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah.
And the Jets D. So, Hilow, any final thoughts? Kind of is obviously, this is super early in the week. I mean, last week we had no idea the Zach Charbonneau value was going to open up, which changed the slate. But as we go forward, looking towards week 15, any final thoughts on this one?
Yeah, we got to be positioning ourselves to score points. As these slates get bigger and bigger, there's more opportunities for points to be scored, more opportunities for, like, if you want to think about it in like statistical terms, more opportunity for like 90-95% outcomes to happen. So like these outlier type scores, if there's more opportunities for them to happen, it's more likely that we're going to need a higher score to win. So even with this roster, this is probably tailored. We tailored it to a single entry type contest. If we are playing the like Millie Maker, if we're playing like some of these large field contests, we probably need a little bit more access to like elite upside. So I mean, there's like Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, they're in like bad matchups, but those guys carry elite upside. The AJ Brown squeaky wheel narrative, could that be a thing? There's no less than 6 quarterbacks on the slate that could put the slate out of reach. So could that be a thing? So these are the things that we kind of need to be thinking about for like contest size versus like how we're approaching building rosters.
Absolutely, man. Well, excited to see kind of how things get broken down as we get later into the week. You obviously do a great breakdown on Friday with Searching for Ceiling with Rich Rebar. I'll be excited to hear what your thoughts, your later week developing thoughts are by then.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Cool, dude. We'll see you, Hilow.